All gave some gave all. Some would march on, others would fall. There are no winners in war when you consider the cost. You cannot justify the thousands of lives for our own that were lost. Wars leave scars that in time may fade, but not without taking a toll. However, the deepest wounds are those that scar the very heart and soul. For those that saw action during wartime, I'm sure without a doubt, they've had to live with the memories of fallen comrades, their brothers, someone they cared deeply about. And all the families left behind with only their memories to carry them through, also paying the price of freedom won for me and you. We are all aware that times have changed, and yet there are certain things we must never forget. Be proud of our flag, and long may she wave, and long may we remember what so many gave.
My name is Randy Chin, Columbus, Nebraska. Our father, Master Sergeant Leonard Chin, served in World War II and the Korean War. During the Korean War, he received the Silver Star for action in the Pacific, saving fellow soldiers' lives. He spent almost a year and a half, 2 years out of the service, and was called back in during the Korean conflict. And December 1st of 1950, day before his birthday, his unit was overrun by the Chinese nationalists, and he was captured by them and died a prisoner of war. Before his capture, the men in his company he let go. They surrounded him with machine guns. He stayed there and let them escape. And later on he was captured and died in prison camp 5 in North Korea. We grew up in Silver Creek, Nebraska. That was my mom's hometown. After Dad was sent to North Korea, fight the North Koreans and the Chinese, we were living at Fort Lewis, Washington. My mother and my brother and myself came back to Silver Creek, Nebraska. And around December 1st, 1950, he was captured. Later on, January 8th, my mother was notified that our dad was missing in action. It was a tough life for her living in Silver Creek. We had to live with her parents, my grandpa and grandma. And she raised 2 of us on her own. And it was a tough deal to do for 2 boys, age of 2 and 3 years old. We had a lot of questions we asked her about when's Dad coming home, where's he at? And growing up in a small town, we had a lot of help from the local people. But it was hard on our mother because she could not answer the question, when's Dad coming home? And sometimes kids would ask us in school, what's your dad do? I remember in the 2nd grade, the first day of school, each student got up and had to tell what their dad did. And when the teacher asked me, I had no way to answer. I didn't really know at that small age, probably 5 then, and I had no answer for the teacher because I didn't know. My mom didn't know what was going on. And not until July 12th of 2018, we received notification from the Defense Department that our dad's remains had been in Hawaii since 1993. And through my 2 aunts, with their DNA and my DNA, which I gave in Minneapolis at a POW MIA family update, all 3 DNA tests came together and our dad's remains were finally identified on July 12th of 2018. And September 19th of 2018, a full military service was held in Silver Creek, Nebraska for our father. And his remains were put in the cemetery next to his wife, Irene. And it was a very great honor to service our dad, how he served the United States Army all those those years, 2 different deployments. And he gave his life for our freedoms.
Hi, my name is Lurie Lenz. I joined the military when I was 38 years old. I joined the Army National Guard. It was a lifelong mission that I wanted to join the military, and I finally accomplished it when my husband arrived back from Iraq. About 6 months later is when I joined. So I'm very proud to have served my country and accomplished everything that I have. My first duty was with the 313th out of Lincoln. It's a ground ambulance company. We deployed to Iraq in 2009, 2010. It was a great deployment for myself. I met a lot of people I still keep in touch with. I learned so much while I was over there. I had providers that were just so phenomenal in teaching. And I learned a lot more about myself and about our country and about the soldiers and what it means to be a soldier, to fight for your country. The people overseas, they were so welcoming for us to be there, and we're happy, and you could see life in them at that time. So it was very rewarding. Some of the funny things that happened while I was in the military is I was called Grandma because I was 38 when I joined, and so I was like Mama Lenz to everybody, and that made me feel really good. It made us a lot closer, and we just worked so well together. So then when we got back from Iraq, I took a promotion into the 126th Chem Battalion in Omaha. I became a sergeant at that time. And that's where I ended my military career. I guess when you join at 38, your body does not like to hold up like it is when you're young, which that's okay. I will gladly take all my ailments because serving our country is probably one of the most proud moments or part of your history that you could probably ever have.
Hi, my name is Chris Linninghamer, and my son's name is Matthew, and we are from Stanton, Nebraska. He now lives in Lincoln, Nebraska. He decided to serve the country because his uncles and family members have served, and he liked the idea of the freedoms that he could bring to other people. He loves just always playing soldier, I guess. I mean, he just thought that that was a good idea. He went to Fort Jackson for his basic training. He did the split at 17. He enlisted. He didn't even get to have his junior year in the summer because he went to basic training. He did a split for the military. He graduated the following year, which he already knew before he graduated that he was going to go to Iraq. On May 14th, he graduated, he turned 19, and in 4 days after graduation, he left for Fort Bliss, Texas, to do his AIT, which stands for individual advanced training. He returned home and he had 2 weeks of his senior summer. After that, he was down to Fort Riley being prepared to go to Iraq. They left in October of 2005. Returned home in 2006 of October. Being deployed is, seeing him leave was, I don't know how to exactly describe it. It's like your heart's pulled out, you're empty. There's just a loss of not knowing for no. And you never ever want to say goodbye. You want to say, we'll see you soon. And you just pray that everything's going to be okay. You got to have faith. It's a very, very long year. He'd done another year in Afghanistan in 2010 to 2011. He wasn't on the front lines that time. He was an engineer, so he did electrical work. So that was stressful, but not as stressful as him being a gunner in Iraq. There were 3 gunners, and on July 31st, 2006, there was an accident and it took Josh Ford's life, and his best friend, Ben Marksmeyer, was injured. There was a blackout. We had no idea where they were for 4 days or what was going on for sure. So that is just traumatic. I mean, you have no idea what it's like to sit there not knowing where your son's at, if he's safe, if he's alive. It's been hard on him because he had survivor guilt. That's what he was feeling, survivor guilt. He should have been there for Ben, and Ben's been his best friend since high school, and they're still best friends to this day. It's just the unknown every day of what they're doing, where they're at, if they're okay. Are they being treated okay? Are they, there's just so many unknowns. You just have to have the faith.
My name is K.E. Barrett, and I was drafted out of Wheeler County. I was working for a rancher, but he was on the draft board, and I had 3 deferments already. I told him he no more deferments, so I went in then. So I went into Omaha for the physical, and they just split the room right in 2. This half goes to the Marines, this half goes to the Army, and that's how come I happened to get into the Marine Corps. But I was a patrol leader, and I had 4 men under me. And our orders was every night. I was in a recon company, and every night we were supposed to make contact with the enemy, or at least let them know that we were out there, and to find out where they were too is the main idea. Well, we were about a mile, I would say, over the line. And we ran into this ambush. And I had a little Mexican motto, and we kind of had a blood pack. Before we let that drive us, we'd get shot. We'd shoot one another. And I believed he'd have done it. I know I would have done it on him. I wouldn't have let him ever get captured. But anyway, when they opened up, they hit Marlowe with a machine gun 3 times right up through his stomach. And so then we were in the ditch. And Marlowe, that was his name, he lay there bleeding pretty good. I crawled up there and stopped the holes in his belly with Band-Aids and stopped the bleeding. And P2, and he got hit right in the helmet, and it just knocked him plumb silly. He didn't know where he was at or anything. And then we had Irish. He was hit in the shoulder, and it kind of half paralyzed him. He couldn't do nothing. So by then, it's time for us to get out of there, so I went back, and Marlowe, I had a flak jacket, and I wrapped that right around his guts and tightened it as tight as I could get it. He was bleeding still pretty good. I tied Irish to Bowen, because he didn't know where he was going. And put my belt on Borland off of that flak jacket and tied him to me. And I picked up little Marlowe. I threw him up on my shoulders and we took back off. Well, I got within 40 rods or so of the line, and I kept hollering out to the sergeant to bring a stretcher. And finally, we broke loose where they could see us, and then they come and helped me. I had taken an artillery shell or a mortar in my back and legs. I had over 100 pieces of shrapnel in me, and then they took me down to Japan, Yokohama, Japan. I was there. It's a big Navy hospital there, and I was there quite a while. But anyway, I got healed up, and I tried to look up Marlowe when I got back to Frisco, and he was supposed to be in San Diego. I wanted to see him, but I never did. So that's the big story of my life over there.
Hello, I'm Jerry Klopek, and I was living in Genoa, Nebraska, between Genoa and Lindsay, Nebraska, when I enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1964. I was actually still in high school when I enlisted. And I was 17 years old at the time I enlisted. We had career day at Fullerton, Nebraska when I was in high school, and my dad and all my uncles was in the service, and I decided, well, I was going to join the service and do my 2 or 3 or 4 years, whatever it was, and get out. And went to the career day in Fullerton, and they had all the branches of the service there except the Coast Guard. But I went to all their presentations, and the Marine Corps was, it was like he got the attention of everybody in the class. It was like everybody was talking in all the other classes or all the other presentations. You came into that presentation, he did the talking and you did the listening. And that's probably why I joined the Marine Corps. I served in Vietnam with the Marine Corps, and I served in Desert Storm with the Army. I joined the Army after after my enlistment in the Marine Corps. I was out for a number of years, and I decided that I wanted to, some people talked me into joining the Army Reserves in Columbus, Nebraska, and since it was right in Columbus, Nebraska, I joined the Army Reserves. And I stayed in there I was in the Marine Corps for 3 years active duty, and I was in the Army Reserves for 27 years, so a total of 30 years. My job assignments in the military was, when I was in the Marine Corps, I was a truck driver mechanic, and that's what I did in Vietnam. We hauled everything and anything to forward bases, to different bases, to all over. We picked it up at the beach, at Da Nang, and we hauled them all over. When I joined the Army Reserves, which was a direct change from the Marine Corps, but it was my MOS, which is military occupational specialty, changed from truck driver mechanic to military police. So I was military police for 27 years. And we was in Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and we ran a POW camp where we had right at 10,000 POWs that we took care of. And that was very interesting. I could tell a lot of stories about that. The military is a very good way to learn how to live with other people, to get along with other people, and to work as a team, from different parts of the country, and you all live together, whether black, white, or green, or yellow, or blue. No matter what you are, you're all together. Because someday that guy's got to watch your back, and you watch his. And that's all I have to say, really. Thank you.
And on closing, I just want to convey our appreciation and thank you for joining us today. Thank you, veterans, and to those who shared their stories and for standing up for Old Glory. We all know freedom isn't free. There's a huge price paid for all our liberties. God bless America, land of our birth, and God bless America, the greatest nation on earth.